Hi, how are you all going?
Great.
Welcome. Are you ready? My name is Michael Walmsley. I'm an AWS service hero. I work for Accenture and the Gem Wizard Asset Engineering Hub, working globally. I want to do a quick shout out to my boss, Luke Higgins from Accenture. He's the reason I'm here today. He's supporting me to travel and speak at these community events. So thank you, Luke. I've got to say that, so it's being recorded. Job done. Tick the box. I want to talk about developer experience today. Developer experience in 2025 is really taking off. It's evolving really, really quickly. And it's evolving faster than I've ever seen developer experience evolve in my entire career. I've been building software for over 30 years. It all started a couple of years ago with Andrej Karpathy from OpenAI, turning around and saying the hottest new programming language is English. In 2025, earlier this year, he talked about vibe coding. And this year, we've all taken off and we've looked, and we're all excited by AI-assisted coding. So vibe coding is really cool. Show of hands of who's doing vibe coding today. How many are doing that? Yeah, there's a few. Keep your hands up, keep your hands up. Hands down if you're not putting that to production. Keep your hands up if you're pushing out vibe code straight to production. One person's really, really brave. Well, today, I want to talk about why that is, and why that's happening, right? Vibe coding is interesting. Vibe coding is a lot of fun. You can say things like, build me a snake game with Python. Whoops, I pressed too many times. And it does. This is Amazon Q. This is slightly sped up, but I've basically turned around and said, build me a snake game. Go and build it. Vibe coding feels powerful because we're handing over control to AI. It goes and does the work for us. We can sit back and watch. We're passively watching what's going on while it's building. And at the end of it, it's thinking, right? It's thought about it. It's creating code. It's awesome. But AI is doing something interesting here. It's using the information that it has inside the model. And from inside the model, it's using stuff that's been done before. So it's using the history of the internet to create code. That's why this works. That's why this works really, really quickly and really effectively. And there we go. I didn't do anything. I didn't touch the screen. I just vibe coded that, and it felt really powerful. Does anyone feel really powerful when they do vibe coding? But it's only just recreating what's already been seen before. And that's the problem with vibe coding. With vibe coding, we're handing over the reins to AI. It's like me as a manager walking up to someone in my team with an entire project and go, I want to refactor this. I want to rebuild this. We want Rust. We want to build everything in Rust, and I want you to do that now. If you're a person on my team and I said that to you, you'd be like, your brain would be filled with all these things about it, all this stuff that you've got to understand. And that's what we're doing with vibe coding. We're handing over the reins entirely, and we're letting AI do all the work. And we're expecting the best outcomes. We're hoping to get the best outcomes. This is where I started earlier this year. I started investigating AI coding earlier this year because I was curious. I went to Amazon Q back in January and I said, create me a serverless CRUD API. And I watched the output. This is what it gave me. It gave me this little if statement of if event equals get, then go and do some stuff. Like, this is not good serverless code. This is not code that I would write as a serverless hero. And I looked at this and went, there's got to be a better way to make this work. So I started diving deeper into this whole realm. And at the end of that, in short, this is what vibe coding does for us. And in my view right now, in 2025, vibe coding is the YOLO of 2025. And if you're going to continue using it, it's going to hurt your projects. So there's got to be a better way. What can we do differently? I started digging into what was going on in the community. I used the community to learn more. I reached out and collaborated with people like Christian Bonsley, and we started talking about the conversation-first approach. Conversation-first approach is where we take AI, we use the IDE or the chats, and we have a specification, and we start talking to it, and we create the specification of what we want to build. We start building up context about what we want to build. After we get the specification, we can start talking to it and start getting an implementation plan. And the AI starts understanding what we want. We plan it, we build it, then we can execute it. We can do code execution using agents, using CLI, using any of the tools. Problem with these is they're all stateless. So now we have to introduce a Git repository. Now we have to have files. Now we have to have things that we record. And all of this together becomes what we call project intelligence. And project intelligence is really interesting, right? This is what Christian calls it. It's what we've decided to call it. And it's about saving the files, saving the information, saving the context for reuse when AI picks it up again. Because as you move forward, you need to be able to create that context to enable AI to work. And if you don't, you're just going to get rubbish. And this is the difference. We need to move away from vibe coding, and we need to really start looking at doing that specification first, implementation planning, and then we can do code execution with AI effectively. We now have a methodology, we have a process, and it's controlled. And it's that control that's important because as engineers, we need to control the development of our software. So when we have really complex software, if we're not controlling that, we're not going to get quality, and we're not going to get repeatability. And that's where I feel that project intelligence really, really works well. So for project intelligence, we're really talking about context. And what's missing in that context is steering files. This is an example of some steering files. These are my objectives. These are my rules. These are my architectural principles. And the steering files you put together talks about using Python Power Tools, because I like Power Tools. I'm a serverless hero, and Power Tools for Lambda is really good. Talks about using infrastructure as code. Let's use SAM CLI, keep it simple. And so that anything, with steering files like this, and there's a number of them, you control the format of your code. You can teach the AI how to code. And this is effectively what we're doing with steering files. We're telling it how to build our code. And it's not configuration. It feels like configuration, but it's not. It's actually architectural governance as code. So I really want you to think about that architectural governance component. And having this and knowing all these things is great. And this works for any tool. Any AI coding assistant tool has a concept of steering files that you can use. They might not be called steering files. They might be rules. They might be whatever. It's context that you add to your repo to drive the tools, whether it's Claude Code, Cursor, Windsurf. Any of those tools react when you do this. But those tools, you have to remind them to look. If you've used Amazon QCLI and you have rules and context, you've got to keep reminding it to look at that and read it. Because I found that quite frustrating personally, because it loves to write code. It doesn't like to stop and think. So this is where I came across a new tool recently. AWS released a new tool, and I'm excited for it because it does something a little bit different. Kiro was released about a month ago. When I first came across Kiro, I was quite excited because it's built upon the foundation of specification first. And I think that's really the picture of the story I want to tell here is all about specification first. It's in preview at the moment, and it's going to be coming out of preview very, very soon. So scan the QR code, get on the wait list. Let's take a look at how Kiro manages our project intelligence approach naturally. Kiro automatically has steering files as first-class citizens. So Kiro allows us to build steering files. It allows me to have a conversation with AI to build those steering files. It can analyze an existing repo and build those for you. Step one, once you've got your steering files, step one, I can now go and do my vibe coding. It's not quite vibe coding now because I've got steering files. I've got specifications, I've got architectural governance. I can then go, I just want to create an AWS serverless code API to manage dogs because dogs are awesome. That's all I have to say. And it automatically Kiro knows about the steering files and it hooks into those steering files. And it's reading them. You see here, right at the top here, it's including the steering documents. It's reading my architectural governance. And with one-line prompt, Kiro starts working on the requirements. And you see here, it's going through a three-step process. It starts off with requirements, and it writes those requirements as user stories. Once I'm happy, once it's done that, it stops and says, hey, I'm done with the requirements. Are they good? Are they good enough? And you go, yeah, they're good enough. Then you go to the next step. And the next step is going to start talking about, the requirements. The next step, once you're happy, is it starts creating the design. And it'll create a technical design for you. And it'll put all the elements of that technical design. It'll talk about the technology stack, high-level architecture diagrams. It'll do a whole lot of things really interestingly. It goes into error handling, transaction logging, volumes. It goes into all these things for you. And you can review that, because again, once it's got the design, it turns around and it stops. It stops and allows you to review. Is the pattern right? Is the technology choice right? I'm now in control. I'm no longer vibing. I'm actually engineering. And this is a very distinct difference when we start looking at the process. Once we're happy with that, Qumulo will then go and create an implementation plan. So it'll actually list out all the tasks. You see in this implementation plan, these are all the tasks that Qumulo is going to do. And then I can execute those automatically and have Qumulo execute those for me. And again, it stops and it asks me if I'm happy with what we're doing. And that's why I really like Qumulo and specification first with any tool, whether it's Qumulo, whether it's Cursor, whether it's Amazon Q, Claude Code, all those tools, if you use specification first, you can control the output that they give you. So you review the outputs, you decide whether it's good. This is before we even write any code. We're not looking at 500 lines of code and going, oh my God, that's rubbish. We're actually going, give me good code from the get-go. And at the end of the day, we're doing specs. It's spec first. So when we do this, let me show you that difference. Remember that first bit of code I showed you at Amazon Q earlier this year? I used Qumulo the other day to generate this application. And the difference, completely different. I've got quality level code here with error handling, try blocks. It's using power tools. It's using all the tools that I expect to have available. And the results stand out for themselves. And really, at the end of the day, it's got structured logging, proper error codes. At the end of the day, this is the difference between hoping and engineering. So I love this quote. Swami said this last year. We're moving from code writing to problem solving. And I think if we think about AI-assisted coding, this is where we're heading. We're heading into a new realm with developer experience, where we get to think about the bigger problems. We can use the specification first approach. We can talk to the AI and guide it to build what we want to build. And we can lift ourselves up from the day-to-day operations. And actually, I look at this as going, a person that drives a solution in a development team today is the tech lead. And if I look at AI-assisted coding, I feel that nearly every developer in a team can almost become like a tech lead because now they can drive the solution. Everyone can lift up their thinking from, the output of everybody on my team is no longer having to write code. The output of the developer is writing code. But now, with AI-assisted coding, it's about guiding AI to write the code. So now we're actually thinking higher level. So I think we're thinking about bigger problems. I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's where developer experience and efficiency is going to increase. It's going to change a little bit. It's a little bit scary. It is a bit scary. I think it is. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is the rise of what I call context engineering. Last year, everyone's going, we're all going to become prompt engineers. No, we're not. It's all about context. It's about driving the value of what we want to create and guiding that value. So vibe coding is what we do today. It's the one shot. It's great for little POCs. It's great for just doing something really simple. It's not great for recreating or engineering. We're handing over the reins to AI and hoping that it's good. I want to go with flowgramming on the right-hand side. I call this flowgramming. I actually stole this. This is from Aaron Senfi in Melbourne. He gave me the slide when I did the talk back at the summit. But we talk about flowgramming, and it's really about getting into the flow. It's spec-driven, agentic workflow development. And that's where I think we need to take AI agentic coding today. And really, like I said, the difference is vibe coding is prompt engineering, crafting the perfect question to get the outcome you want. Vibe coding, not vibe coding, flowgramming is context engineering, where we're building up intelligence about what we want to build and having AI execute that effectively. So where do you want to go today? What I want everyone to do today is actually really, really think about what you're doing today. And the takeaway from today is really look at how can I enter the flow and become a flowgrammer, throw away the vibe coding completely and get effective projects built by AI. And I think everyone should you should really have a think about your current AI workflow. Start with specifications, not vibes, and grab Qumulo. Thank you very much for your time.